Well, I take my hat off to the many journalists who go to report from the front line in Ukraine. I think we need to spare a thought for those journalists who are based in Russia, who are trying to get the story of the Russian side of this pernicious war, this war of aggression launched by Putin against Ukraine, and trying to get the feel of what ordinary people in Russia are experiencing and sensing about this war. There are people who are observing what seems to be a studied normality, an effort to simply soldier on and not to notice these sanctions, not even to notice that they might even be biting. Maybe they aren't. So much of the war seems to be hidden from ordinary Russians' vision. So much of the war is clouded in the propaganda that nightly dominates Russian television, and we have very little access to that in the UK. But I think we need to think about the danger that that these journalists face while they remain in Putin's Russia. The Wall Street journalist Evan Gershkovich has now been arrested and accused of spying. What was he doing that led to that accusation? He seems to have been writing reports about Prigozhin, why not, and the Wagner mercenaries, about the extraordinary hardships faced by ordinary Russians, the determination that many Russians have got to keep going despite the threats to their jobs, to their livelihood, to their future, the threat of possible conscription, the huge number of people who have fled the country, the threat to the arts, the threat to basic culture, the things that have defined Russia in the last 20 years, suddenly are uncertain. I think we need to think very clearly about the difference between Putin's war, the Kremlin-initiated aggressive war in Ukraine, this invasion, and the lives of ordinary Russians, and the difference between Russia and the Kremlin. I think there is a difference, and I think that difference will become more pronounced over the next few months. But how will we see that difference if our journalists are not protected and safe reporting from Russia? This could easily drift into a country about which we know nothing.